I love what you guys are doing. I really love that Mexican sorcerer that was on last night talking about drinking in the desert. That was
Incredible.
wild.
Yeah. Great
Really
caller.
bringing back that old school radio stuff.
Thank you.
No, I was thinking the other day, I was actually really pissed off. Excuse my language. I was really pissed off the other day. This might sound a bit odd. This isn't really supernatural or aliens or anything, but it is a little bit coincidental. We were
Hmm.
talking about what's the term? Um, Mandela effect and the
Hmm.
way that, sometimes things happen coincidentally.
Yep.
I was really pissed off. I was talking in chat the other night. I was saying something along the lines of, uh, I was really frustrated. I said, God, give me a sign, you know,
Hmm.
like I was just like, this is stupid. Just God, give me a sign or something like that. Well, monkey's paw, uh, found out today my grandfather's been dead for 4 months
Whoa. How?
and no one told me, you know.
Wow. That's wow. Well, I'm
So,
sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
it's, thanks.
Was it
It,
held from you on purpose, or did everyone just find out?
um,
If you don't mind me asking.
no, I don't mind you asking. I brought it up, so I invited it upon myself. Um, I'm kind of a jerk, and yeah, I don't think the rest of my family told me because they didn't want to interact with me. But
Hmm.
it's just a weird thing how some days you say, God, give me a sign, and you're almost joking, and then the next day you just get hit with a bombshell.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
It's a bit humbling.
yeah, it was a bit of a wake up call. So I was super excited to call in and say something along the lines of like, if the moon is a hologram, then how do tides work? And
Atta boy.
Well, there's a machine. There's a machine that does that way
there's a very
below
large
the
wave
ocean.
making machine. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a marine engineer. I designed it
It's
myself.
called the
Oh,
Great
perfect.
Pacific Garbage Patch. It's just really a huge plunger that's
Yeah.
making waves.
Yeah, there's just a big hole in the middle of the ocean.
Hmm.
Nobody actually
Yeah,
tells
it's
you about.
draining.
Yeah. Actually, yes. You're right. But so you're
It,
you were gonna call in and give us the business, but
yeah, I was. I really was planning on calling
you
you
still
guys
can.
today,
You still
and
can.
it would just feel bad now because I was gonna break it down from if the moon doesn't exist, there's no mass in the tides, and if you drop a rock, it'll hit the ground anyway. But no, it was a rough day, man, and I just feel like a jerk. So
Well,
the
don't feel
moon
like
is
a
fake.
jerk. I mean, we're all jerks. We all have our jerk moments.
Yeah,
And I would like to think that maybe this could be good for you guys to maybe, find some common ground if it's been a rough few months with the family.
Well, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had the exact same thing happen to me, but with a different member of my family, and it was 2 years before I found out.
Wow.
that's a long time actually.
It really pissed me, and it was actually two members of my family, not one, that had died just months apart. My grandfather and my brother, and that was basically a side of the family that we had lost touch with for a long time. And we never ended up. The whole goal over a course of years was, yeah, let's find your grandfather, let's find your grandfather, let's find your brother, because they were always around each other. And by the time we had actually gotten a hold of them or found somebody that knew what was up with them, it had been 2 years since they had both passed on.
Wow.
So I was super pissed, and I can tell you that that feeling really sucks because
It's
you're angry.
yeah.
Like everyone's already had their gone through this and moved on, and you didn't even get a chance to be like a part of it. And it really sucks for a while. But
It's exactly what I mean, man.
that feeling that you've got right now, though, dude, I've had it, and it does go away. I don't want to say it necessarily gets better, but it's one of those things where like that wound will heal up and it'll leave a scar, but
Yeah.
it does stop hurting eventually, and you do make peace with it. It's just you have to find your own way on that. It just sucks.
Yeah, it does, man. I apologize for calling in with something very normal.
Nah,
I
man.
really,
No.
I'm an engineer, and I wanted to talk about, science. It's stupid, man. It's,
No, you're good, man. Don't even
Not-
kick yourself. This show
yeah.
can use a little normal sometimes.
Yep, yep. I mean, at the heart of a lot of this is the sort of odd, strange grief we all have to go through in this life, you know?
That really was the weird thing about it, was just here I was making jokes yesterday, and today it blew up in my face. So I won't take up too much more of your time. I'll just leave you with this thought. Shane's not a serial killer. I'm positive that when he takes the glasses off, he goes and he hunts down demons with shotguns. I'm positive that's what his second job is.
I think that's great. I appreciate that, and I will never divulge my alter ego, but that does sound appropriate. But man, I appreciate you calling in and sharing the news, though it is sad. And you're welcome to call back and talk about your belief in the moon and gravity and all
My
that
belief in the moon.
and all that good stuff whenever you're free, man.
Hey, man, I'm with you. I'll back you up
you
100%.
you guys can gang up on me whenever. It's fine.
All right, thanks, Mr. Cashman. I hope you have a nice day.
Of course, man. Thank you, man.
Bye.
I'll tell a quick story. This will probably just add to the weird lore I've already been.
Demon hunter, vampire,
I don't think I've told this story.
undertaker,
Yeah, well, gravedigger,
cowboy.
gravedigger, not an undertaker, but my grandfather, who I always talk about, who I sat with when he died, and whose funeral was on my 30th birthday. You and the caller just reminded me that his older brother, my grandfather's older brother, is the guy I mentioned last night who was in Hiroshima taking those pictures.
Yeah.
And when he came back from the war, he was messed up, like PTSD.
Yeah.
And he started a TV shop in Long Island, on Long Island for Alex if she's listening, and just went mental. Started shooting out the TVs. This is all according to my grandfather. They were 8 years apart. And just couldn't bring himself to existing the life he had before the war. And my grandfather and his brother rode Indian motorcycles a bunch, and they were really good at taking apart cars and bikes. And one day, his brother decided to take one of the bikes, and just peace out. And no one ever heard from him again. And years and years and years go by, and we only get this story through the family that his older brother would eventually have. And what had happened was, this is ridiculous, but this is the family lore, I swear, and this is going to make me look way more like a psyop than I should be even saying. He went to California, homeless, and someone approached him on the street and said, "I'll let you live in my basement if you hand out these pamphlets for me." And that person with the pamphlets wound up being L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology.
What?
Yeah. And he lived in his basement for quite some time, met his wife at one of those weird meetings where you do all that weird Scientology stuff, and they got married. And then L. Ron had a flood in his house in, I think, New Jersey, and sent my great uncle and his wife to go clean up that house. And they went there, and they realized something like the spell lifted of Scientology. And they said, no more. We're never going to do that again. And they became Quakers. And so I'm getting all this from like their kids. And my grandfather only ever saw his brother again when my grandfather was a cop in the city. This was probably in the 70s now, 80s, early 80s, maybe late 70s. And they said, "We found your brother dead in a stairwell, and we need you to identify his body." And when he went to identify the body, he said, this is how he put it, it was his face, but it wasn't his body. And by that he meant, my family were like a lot of big dudes, like 6'2", 6'4", 6'5", wide. And he said his brother's body like shrank, like it was just a smaller, frail body. And he didn't make any sense to him. He found out he was a machinist, but he knew his face. And it was like, that's my brother. And that was the last time he saw his brother. And then at the funeral is when they got all this information. And I became fairly close with with the great uncle's son. And so I got a lot more details from all this stuff, but wild.
What?
Yeah. So I know from just secondhand hearing that story, like with you and your brother, which is crazy, that really screwed up my grandfather. Losing his brother, that was his hero. And then, only ever seeing him again without knowing anything like I just told you guys until later on, having to identify the body while being a cop, you know, in the city when the city was a very, very, very violent place. So, yeah, wild. There is Scientology lore on that side of the family.